Welcome back. I wanted to talk to you today about lesson planning. Now, if you're an RC parent, don't click off. I know there's controversy about lesson planning. I feel like it's the self-learning method, and that's why people like RC so much. But I just found for my younger students, I have to lesson plan for them, and I'll just share how I like to do it. Maybe it'll fit with your personality type and your family too. Okay, so everybody that homeschool knows there has to be some form of record keeping, right? So for RC, the basic method is, to do the 3 R's, right? So to do like the 2 hours of math, an hour of writing, an hour of reading, or whatever it is, or 2 hours of reading, 1 hour of writing. And since I do some bridge, some scaffolding to the RC method, my kids are all still younger. My oldest is 11. He's in 6th grade this year. And so I couldn't just quite leave him to his own devices. I don't know, maybe if you have kids that maybe have some ADD or, things like that we deal with in our house, you might have to have a little bit more structure and accountability. So for me, lesson planning helps with that. And let's just go through some of my strategies. So first, Dr. Robinson recommends everyone be in one room, which was like a huge game changer for me when I actually implemented that. So just for one, so I could be in here to, kind of just my presence is helpful to keeping the kids on task. And lesson planning kind of gives me something to do. And maybe it's just like my type A personality, but like I like it and I like writing. So I enjoy like the tactile experience of like writing in the lesson planner and like planning things out. So this is how I do it. All right, so I was having trouble finding a lesson planner for multiple kids that was 6 days a week, also an RC thing if you're an RC family. Or maybe you just want a 6th day in there because the kids do special stuff and as 1 day a week and you like to be able to write that in separately. But I was having a really hard time finding any 6 day a week lesson planners and ones obviously that fit multiple students. I wanted to have a record of what they were doing. And so I just had to make my own. And I put them in my TPT store. They're pretty cheap, but you buy them one time and you can print them forever. So that was my solution, is to make my own. And if you stick around my channel, you'll see I do that a lot. I just make my own because then I can make it just how I want it. But this is what the one I'm using this year looks like. It says lesson plans. I combined it, of course, because I combine all of our stuff. And I start out with, I just make a list, right? If I ever had to turn this in to child welfare to prove I was educating my kids. Does anybody else like a worst case scenario doomsday planner? Because that's me in my mind all the time. So I just went ahead, I'm going to plan for these 3 kids this year and what year I'm planning for. And then I just have a notes page, which I usually I haven't written too much this year, but these were pretty filled up last year. Just writing down like extra thoughts, things that the kids said that they were interested in. I wanted to jot it down so that I could, think about it later. Things I noticed. I write little things down in my planner all the time because I'm sitting here at the schoolroom table with them, and it's right there for me, and it keeps it all subject related things in one spot. So everything to do with school is like in here. And then I did put a lot of thought, there's a lot of trial and error into making some sequences for math and for language arts. That's basically how I separated them out for RC. And so I've got a math sequence. I just went ahead and printed that out for myself. And I did it through grades, like pre-K to 6th or whenever they start into Saxon. So I have that there for my reference. If I'm like, oh, what do I need to do next? Or where am I going? I like to have it written down. And I did the same with my language arts sequence. So like I know where we're going. And I'll link to these. These are free printables, and they actually, all these are links if you get the document. So you can like go right to that resource if you want to look at it. But obviously everything I'm trying to incorporate needs to move us towards the independent learning and work ethic. So that's always my goal in mind, is like, how do I move my kids from being really dependent on me to being less so and then fully independent. So that's what's going into the picking of all my resources. But so if you are in the planning phase of homeschool, and maybe you're a little more eclectic with your homeschool method right now, that's kind of why I call us RC Plus. Like, we're Robinson curriculum for our base, but I do have some things that are non-RC pulled in just with the goal in mind of getting to be more RC, pure. That's the end goal. But I did find I just had to be pretty hands-on here in these early years. So if you don't have to use like the exact same like resources I used, but I always like to get it written out, get a plan, and you can always change the plan, but it's nice to see where you're going. Sometimes if you find a line of products that you like I found I liked the Evan Moore writing notebooks and stuff. And so like I might want to stick with that because it just some consistency for the kids I think is helpful, if there's a more familiar style of writing and like format for them to follow. That was one of the things I hated about public schools. Like, every year you got a whole new classroom to adjust to, a whole new group of kids to adjust to, a whole new teacher, and every teacher would have their own personality to adjust to, their own expectations. Like, what would be okay for one is not okay for another. And like, so it was like every year, it was like less focused on in my experience, like the student and learning, and more about adapting to my environment over and over and over. So something I want to keep in our homeschool experience is a lot more consistency, so the focus can be more on the student. They can focus on themselves because they've just got mom, they've got one, bossy lady around, and they've got the same atmosphere and the same goals in mind and the same house rules, school rules, you know what I mean? So consistency. Anyways, back to lesson planning. So let's say you know what you want to use. Let's just assume you already know all the resources you want to use, and you have that plan. And I'll probably make another video in more detail about picking resources if you're needing something extra to bridge yourself into the program. So I just list my subjects then for each child. So Beauregard, I've got, he's in preschool age. Bible, math, I wanted to do read aloud, letters, fine motor skills, speech, PE. And so then I just drop in what my resources are that I plan on using based on my sequence that I already filled out. And, you can individualize for each kid. You know your kid best. So I did one of those for each kid. One for William. He's in the 2nd grade this year. And a note page in there. And then one for Everett too, right? So this is really helpful to me during the planning phase of school, before school starts. And then for each, I just print out a bazillion of these like weeks. So I organize our week like this into 2 pages, and each kid gets their own week, right? So I have 3 kids. So I have like 3 weeks that I write out, and it sounds like a lot, but it's not. It sounds like more than it is, but it takes longer to explain it than to just like do it. Because once you like know what you're using, you just are like, following along. A lot of times I'm just going back and like looking, what did we do last week? Okay, we're just continuing on with that this week. So I put, I like to leave these blank in case I mess up and want to get new ones. But I just write what week we're on, and then here are the days of the week here, and I put Saturday/Sunday because I don't know which day. Sometimes you do one or the other. And I just put dates on both of those. And then So we always do Bible. I mean, that's not like an RC thing. That's just something we like to do. So right now we're reading theology. And so I just write down what readings we're going to do this week. And then for him, he's got letters and then number stuff. I leave a break for lunch. It's important. And then read alouds, fine motor skills, speech, PE. And then if we do any type of like activities outside of school, I would put those here. Like if we go to like the playground, right? If I'm planning on going on a walk this day, in church on Sunday. And then every day, like, so I plan these out, you know, like on Saturday or Sunday or whatever. And then I just check them off as we go throughout the day. And I do that for all 3 of them. So then this was Williams that same week, right? And then here was Everett's, right? So things that are family subjects like social studies and science, that's a lot easier because I'm just copying it. I only have to do the planning once and I just copy it on to the next kids. So then it goes on to the next week. It starts over. And I do like to do color coding. So Beauregard's favorite color is green. So I write his in green. William was blue and Everett is red, right? Off their favorite colors. So that's how I keep track of it. I just check everything off. And then like for some reason, if something didn't get done, I always write in pencil, you know, so that I can erase it or I just cross it off and we just do it the next day. Okay, so we do RC subjects first and then if time allows for science, the history, kind of some extra things I do with them, we did those afterwards. But you know, the 3 R's are of highest priority. And if you want to write down, like if I want to write down, like I give them a vocab test, you know, or like a spelling test on Sundays, the last day of our week. And I might want to like, so I see he's got a vocab test, you know, at the end of this week. And I'll probably, I'll write down like if he gets, you know, 9 out of 10 or whatever points I liked. I don't grade a lot of stuff, but stuff that's like a test, I think it's helpful for me to see how many he's getting, you know, right. Because if he was not doing well, I would have him repeat it. But I like to have that down. And it also, back to my doomsday, it looks like I'm tracking, I'm grading something. Okay. And then I would, like we did make lesson plans. Like this year, Everett made his own lesson planner because the goal is for them to be able to eventually know how to plan for themselves, you know. So he had fun. He picked his colors and I showed him how to use the PowerPoint, how to make this stuff. And so he's just had it though. And he has not opened it not one time so far this year. And so we'll see how that goes. I will probably, we're only like 2 weeks, this is like our 2nd week of school. So I'm just trying to get him kind of back into the swing of things. And then I might have a day where maybe on Mondays where we go over the plans together and I just open up my book, you know, and he just basically, I tell him, okay, so today you're going to do ... right? I could do it day by day or I could do it, tell him the whole week in advance, but I feel like day by day might be better because, you know, sometimes plans change. Last year I just made him I made him his own to-do list. And so I would just put it on a sticky note or something, give it to him, and then he could like cross it off as he went. And then it was easy for me to glance over and see where he was in his list. And then I do have him, he's a little bit older, so he can work more independently. One of our accountability tactics is, you know, at the end of the day, he basically gives me all his stuff and I use my lesson plan to go back and check that it's done, you know, and I do some quality control. You know, sometimes, like, I checked his vocab yesterday. He had to write his own vocabulary sentence, and I was, like, you know, I gave it back to him. I was like, okay, you need to look at the definition again, because he didn't quite use this word correctly in the sentence, so please rewrite this one sentence. So, I do want to be, like, checking that his work is actually quality. He's not just over there checking stuff off and not really getting the benefit of a critique back, you know. Anyway, so I'm hoping that maybe by the end of this year, he will be able to start practicing keeping his own record, his own plans. And that is also just going to be like a life skill, you know. that will be valuable forever. I mean, I got really addicted to planners, you know, from working, like from a job that we had. There was planners there to use, and it was so useful, such a simple yet useful tool. You ever have something like that you're like, this is why people use these? Like, why would I use this? This greatly improves my performance. This makes me way more efficient or whatever. So, and I'm still using it now with my homeschool. Anyways, okay, so lesson planning. Get a lesson planner. Something that helps you. If you want to go this route, get a lesson planner, right? Or make your own, or use mine, print them out. And, you know, keep track of your lessons. Like, I would plan just 1 week in advance, because who knows, like, so much can happen. Just plan 1 week ahead of time. Write in pencil in case you need to change something. I recommend having your own sequence of, for like math or language arts, you know, things, because you can individualize this, things that you want to add in, skills you think your kid needs. And you may find that your kid has some kind of hole, some kind of gap in their skills, like they are not using, you know, apostrophes, right, or commas or whatever. And so that maybe that's something you want to address. And so you might find a resource for that and stick it into your sequence, you know. So I recommend doing your resource list by subject and material that you're going to use for each kid. So that makes lesson planning super easy, especially when you start out and you don't have it quite on the top of your head. I can like Bible, oh, we're doing ology. You just write that in. Oh, math, we're doing raised arithmetic. Just write that in. It's just like drag and drop things into your columns. That's how I like to imagine it in my mind. And then, you know, record graded things if you want to, and just keep it right here. You know, you have a written record, just write it in, like, you know, 9 out of 10, circle it. Right? So it's right there for you. This is also helpful for like math and stuff, so I can keep track of how many times my kids have had to repeat a math lesson or whatever. So if they're missing too many, you can record the error rate, you know, or how many are correct, and so that you kind of see here too. I never could get my kid to do the like chart thing for the error rate. It just didn't happen. So that's my lesson planning technique. If you have any questions or comments that you would like me to respond to, just leave them in the comment section. And I look forward to talking to everybody about all things lesson planning and RC. Thanks.